Here are 10 beginner calisthenics exercises that you can do with your body weight to significantly increase your strength. The Pike Push Up is a great one for developing your shoulders, your triceps, and start working on some handstand support or even handstand push-ups. So if you start with your hands about shoulder width or slightly wider apart, you want to extend the hips up. I like to slightly unlock the knees, come onto my tiptoes, protract, pushing through the floor, making sure you're not sinking into the shoulders. Slowly lower yourself down to make a tripod position between your head and your hands, and then pushing back up. Notice my elbows are not flaring directly out to the sides. They're pulling back and in towards the hips. I'm trying to scoot down and back in the same angle. Trying to keep those hips high. You want to make sure this looks more like a shoulder press, not like a press up. You can do these banded also. I'm going to use a red band, but I recommend using a slightly thicker one if you've got one. You loop the band around like that, maybe a little bit higher up on the rack. You're going to get into the band. You're going to put it around the hips. You're going to get into that pike push-up position, and then as you come down, the band's going to support you in that stretch position, and then pressing back up to the top. If you want more help, either use a thicker band or set the band higher up so it stretches more. Alternating compressions are a great way to work on hip flexor and abdominal strength, and they're very underrated and underdone. So you can do this by posturing upright, put your fingertips on the floor. If you want to make it more advanced, you can crawl forwards. Now you're going to keep the body still as you lift one leg off, hold, return, keep the body still as you lift the opposite one. We're aiming for 2-second pauses at the top, and we're compressing this center space between the quad and the chest. It's tempting to rock back as you do it, but if anything, I want you to actively lean forwards to compress the center. You'll feel your quad getting tired. Now, one of your quads is a hip flexor. Hip flexors is a group of muscles that cause hip flexion, so don't worry if you're feeling it down the quad. Now, the push-up or press-up, as we like to call it in the UK, is actually a very challenging exercise to do properly, but you can do the negative push-up as a regression, and I think this is superior for developing strength towards a full push-up than the kneeling. So to do the negative press-up, you're going to start in a full push-up position. We're going to engage the glutes, slight pelvic tilt, draw the belly button in. We're going to slowly lower down, elbows going back slightly towards the pockets. When we come all the way to the mat, we're going to drop the knees. I can just reset. I don't even need to do a kneeling push-up. I'm just going to come back to the start. We're going to restart. So might do 5 counts down, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to pause just off the floor, drop the knees and reset. As you gain strength, you can slow that eccentric lengthening phase down. I recommend trying to do 3 sets of 5 reps as slow as possible to build up strength to doing a full push-up. Prone Y raises are a great exercise for the posture muscles of your upper back. We're going to lie face down on the mat. We're going to make a Y shape with your body and arms. You're going to keep your chest and head down on the floor, relax your lower back. You're going to lift your hands up and pause for 2 seconds each rep. The half hollow hold is a great core exercise working on the rectus abdominis and the transverse abs. It's a regression from the full hollow hold. If you start off hugging your knees to your chest, head and shoulders off, then we're going to let go of one leg, hold it out, my lower back is flat to the floor. Then we're going to let go of the arms, keeping the head and upper back off the mat, bracing the core, making sure there's no overarch in the lower back. Let's say you are holding for a minute, you could switch knees at the 30-second mark, getting a nice strong core tension, avoiding any arch. The negative chin up is the perfect beginner variation to bring you to doing your first full rep, and I believe it's superior to doing banded chin ups. So if you start off with a box, chair, bench, or something to get you to the top, you could even jump. And we're gonna start off at the top with control, and then you're gonna lower down with a nice, smooth, even pace, trying to take the same amount of time for the second lower half as you did for the top. A common mistake I see with the negatives is that people tend to spend most of their time in the top half and then they rush the bottom bit, but you will tend to get stuck at the bottom, and unlocking is the hardest part of doing your first full rep. So make sure you're training the full lengthening phase. So hop up to the top, slowly down. You could even add in some pauses to increase the difficulty level. And then I want you to go to full extension before putting your feet down on the ground. I recommend doing 2 to 3 reps per set with about 10 seconds rest between rep, and try that for 3 sets in total. The narrow stance split squat is a great exercise for the quads, also improving your ankle mobility and can progress you on towards a pistol squat. Start with 1 foot forwards. The next foot's toe is just going to be about 3 or 4 inches behind the front heel. You can have your back heel off, but we're going to keep the front heel down. What you're going to do is you're going to squat down, getting this front knee to come as far forwards over the toes as you can. Going down to the base, back up. Now I want you to start minimizing the help of that back foot assistance, keeping an upright posture, putting the arms out for counterbalance. You can even delay the assistance of that back foot on the way down. Just help out in the bottom third to catch you at the bottom, and then release again on the way back up. Once you've done about 5 reps, we're going to switch sides. So back toe, 3 to 4 inches behind the front heel. All my weight is shifted into this front leg. I'm trying to let the knee come forwards over the toes without collapsing in towards the big toe. So don't collapse that front knee to the center, keep it pushed out slightly. And again, we can delay the assistance of that back leg. The hanging reverse crunch is one of my favorite ab exercises, and I use it every week in my training. You're gonna do it by hanging on a bar like this. You're gonna lift your knees up, curling the tailbone under, trying to get your knees as close to your armpits and triceps as possible. And if that's too difficult, just try and get your quads beyond parallel to the floor, and you can work your way up gradually. I'd say if you can't get your quads at least higher than parallel to the floor, you should regress it down to just the floor reverse crunch until you've built up some strength. Roll your knees up towards the chest, come back down until your tailbone makes contact. You could come all the way to straight legs, but make sure your lower back is not arching off. You're gonna repeat. Imagine you're trying to touch your quads on your chest. Scapula push-ups are a key exercise in calisthenics, working on that protraction forward, which is essential for learning to go onto some more advanced skills. You can do this in a full press-up position like this. So you're gonna protract, pushing into the floor, actively rounding the upper back, and then sinking out and through. So it's almost like a cat-cow in yoga, but only with the upper back. I'm engaging my glutes, keeping the hips locked in place. You're gonna hold at the top, spreading the shoulder blades. Imagine the point between your shoulder blades is trying to reach up to touch the ceiling as you press down into the floor. And you can do this from a kneeling position as well. It's a little bit easier. We could even do it incline, leaning on a bar or on a work surface. The banded reverse Nordic is a great quad exercise. Now this can be done without the band, but to make it more of a beginner movement, I recommend holding a band at your chest, and then it's going to support you in that deep stretch position. Keep a nice straight line from knee to shoulder on the way back up. I recommend keeping the glutes engaged and avoid dropping the hips back as you come to the top. As you get better, you could minimize the band assistance and hopefully work your way to doing a full rep without any help. And that's it for today. Let me know if you found any of that useful and if there's any exercises that you would add to this list. Why not join me for a beginner follow along calisthenics workout you can do at home with no equipment by clicking this video here. See you there.